Seen Landman? It's on Netflix. Billy Bob Thornton. Don't watch it because it's addictive. And I was working with a group of CEOs, and one CEO is in land management. And her job is, at the moment, to assemble a 300 parcel piece of land for a client. The way she would have done it historically is an 80-hour super big Excel spreadsheet, like name of owner, the survey of their property, the date they bought it, what they paid for it, 80 hours. Just with a very good prompt, she pointed it at a couple of Government of Alberta websites, and 5 seconds later, the 80 hours of work was done. Is this going to change business? And her time is now freed up to do something far more valuable. So we're going to talk about dozens of AI apps today, and this is the first one.
I am so excited to be talking to RBC Wealth Management and Integram clients about AI and Gen AI. Every single day, we're seeing mind-blowing new applications that are coming out that are literally transforming the way business works, the way government works, the way society as a whole works. We're seeing use cases with up to 10,000x increases in productivity. That's staggering. We'll talk about dozens of apps, and this is the first one. 好，我非常兴奋地能与 RBC 财富管理和
Anyone
Integram 的客户
speak
谈论人工
Chinese
智
here?
能
Chinese?
和生成式人工
We'll
智能。
skip this then.
Ich freue mich sehr, mit den Kunden von RBC Wealth
German?
Management
Anybody
und
German here?
Integram
German?
über KI
How's
und
my accent?
Gen AI zu sprechen. Jeden Tag sehen wir
Dankeschön.
atemberaubende Neu मैं RBC Wealth Management और Instagram के ग्राहकों से
Anybody
AI और
speak Hindi
Gen
here?
AI के बारे में
How's
बात
my
करने
accent?
के लिए बहुत
Pretty
उत्साहित
good.
हूँ. Estoy muy emocionado de hablar con los clientes
Spanish?
de
Anybody
RBC
Spanish?
Wealth Management
Oh,
et
skip this
Instagram.
then.
Je suis tellement enthousiaste de parler aux clients de RBC Wealth Management et d'Instagram à propos de
Quelqu'un
l'IA
parle français
et de
ici?
l'IA
Il y a des
générative.
Français? Oh,
Chaque
fantastique.
jour,
Now, why would I begin with this? Toronto is the modern day Constantinople, where East meets West. There are 200 mother tongues spoken here in Toronto. We can market to the world if I can take any message and translate it into any language, especially in these times that are very difficult with tariffs and our traditional large partner threatening trade relationships. It becomes more important to use AI to market to the world. I was working with a convenience store chain. The majority of their new franchisees don't have English as their first language. What are the implications if I can market internally in any language? And by the way, people think AI is very expensive. That took me less than an hour to do. Actually, it was 30 seconds, upload it, and then I come back and all the translations are done for me. And the first time I did it, and by the way, it cost me an entire $1. Fina, I spent $1. $1, I know. That's a first. So it's not complex, it's easy, but it offers us incredible power. Now, I can go to stockimage.com and they will let me use an image like this for a mere $500 US in my presentations. It is so generous of them. Or I can go to Midjourney or DALL-E, type in, give me the word why in cursive on a white piece of paper pinned to a corkboard, and after 2 or 3 iterations, I get to use this for the rest of my life for free. Will it change marketing images? I was working with CEOs of construction companies, and one of them said to me, Jim, we're bricks and mortar, we're steel girders. AI will have no impact on our business. And I said, fair enough, that whatever you believe, that is truth. And so a friend of mine started an AI-only sales and marketing company. She grew it from 0 to 10 million a year revenue in 1 year. One of her clients, construction, $284,000 annual contract, resulted in $8.8 million of new business. But it won't impact construction, clearly.
Ah, yes, instructional design. The glamorous world when you get to take a 300-page policy manual and turn it into a super fun, interactive e-learning module. Because nothing screams edge-of-your-seat excitement like corporate compliance training.
So the first set of images, which was me talking Chinese or Mandarin. Actually, the first time I used it, a Chinese woman came up to me and said, "Jim, your Mandarin was perfect." And I said, "Xie xie," which is thank you, the only word I know in Mandarin. And then a German woman came up and she said, "Your German was great." And I said, "Dankeschön," the only word I know in German. So people actually think it's me talking, but it's not. This is really boring training. And imagine I create a cartoon character that's more interesting. I'm working with CEOs in the oil field of Alberta, and I got to tell you, corporate compliance training is horrific. So they're using something called Notebook LM, where you feed a white paper into it, and it's a male and female voice debating what the content of the white paper is, and their rig operators listening to it in their Ram Dodge trucks driving to work, because they'll never read a policy or safety manual. So we're using AI in very interesting ways. McKinsey, this is an old study showing 4.4 million, trillion rather. I feel Dr. Evil. It's $4.4 trillion a year. Michael cited 16 trillion. They're upping their number, but it's going to affect every single industry. I can stand in front of a green screen, record my voice and visage for just 5 minutes in 4K, feed it into an AI. It will know my voice, visage, my hand movements, and then I can feed it one of my books at 100,000 words, and it will create hours of training and development video. Is this going to change T&D? So this is the Vermeer masterpiece, Woman with Dutch Earrings. But for children today, that is static. It is so boring. So wouldn't it be interesting if I could take AI and animate what she'd look like? So I go to CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, every year, and this is Pat Gelsinger, the CEO of Intel at the time. This is January 24. I want to play you a little clip from Pat.
These AI use cases are demonstrating such extraordinary economic value, right? It isn't just that, we're going to make money or the other technology providers are going to make money associated with it. You're creating new economic value, right? We're taking use cases, and having 10, 100,000, 10,000x productivity improvements. This is stunning as a result. And because there's so much economic value in these use cases, the world is motivated to figure it out.
Inconceivable!
For all you Princess Bride fans. So I'm just going to play you a clip from Jeff, the founder of Amazon.
What is it that you're doing at Amazon?
AI. Yeah, so there are a few things, but it's 95% AI.
And where do you think?
It's just so, because we're literally working on 1,000 applications internally. So AI, you have to remember, modern AI is a horizontal enabling layer. It can be used to improve everything. It will be in everything. This is most like electricity. These kind of horizontal layers, like electricity and compute, and now artificial intelligence, they go everywhere. I guarantee you, there is not a single application that you can think of that is not going to be made better by AI.
And so what he's really saying is, he's talking about horizontal. I'm going to talk about vertical functions, same difference. But it literally impacts everything. And so there is no organization, there is no function that is not going to be impacted by AI. I'm going to play you a little clip from the founder of Facebook.
Probably in 2025, we at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code.
So what is freaking people out is part of that McKinsey study that 30% of current work in the US will be automated in whole or part by 2030. Now, before you start freaking out, think about this. There are 2 million job openings in the US healthcare system alone. And we can't even find people. I don't know if you have that challenge that you hire somebody and then they ghost you, like you've hired them and they never come in. I thought ghosting only happened on Tinder, but no, it's happening for all of us today. So people are freaked out about AI. But before you get freaked out, think about this. 175 years ago, 80% of employment in Canada was in agriculture. Today, it's less than 2%. So we've survived farm automation. But the real story is that everyone had to change. New companies emerged. Society as a whole changed. This is really a story about change, not about technology or AI. So Boston Consulting Group and Harvard gave 758 white-collar consultants AI tools, and they measured performance before and after. They had 12% higher quantity of work, 25% faster, and 40% higher quality. Now, this next one just blows me away. Here's the average performance before the tool, and here's the average performance after. The light green bars are low performers, and the dark green bars are high performers. Notice that everyone moves to the right. In fact, the bulk of people are now at a performance better than your top decile. The people who benefit most are people who have low performance in an area. So it's like giving superpowers. How do you take a 3-month employee and turn them into a 3-year performance employee? With these tools. Now, I hear many governments, ministers, some organizations saying, we will not use AI tools in the education system, for instance. And to me, that's like saying, we do not want our people to have superpowers. Thank you very much. It's an insane statement, and yet it's being made quite often. So 99% of Canadian companies are SMEs. We're working with a $35 million manufacturing firm. A 40% uplift is worth $14 million. As leaders of your companies, can you ignore a $14 million uplift? No. So globally, feelings about AI are 50-50 split. But looking at Canada, 63% fear AI, only 37% are excited about it. You are never going to implement AI in your organization when 63% of your people fear it. Now, here's the good news. When I was in Davos this year at WEF, talking to a CEO who just finished a 35,000 global survey, 27 countries, when you have trained every single person in AI and they see the awesome power of it, that fear drops to 10%. That is the grease that is needed on the skids to create organizational change. This is why the Koji program that Michael was mentioning, where you get 83.3% of your training dollars back, which, by the way, is a use it or lose it thing, is so important. 39% of the average global worker's skill set is no longer relevant by 2030, according to the World Economic Forum this year in 2025, which means we need an industrial scale upskilling. Upskilling says that 61% of your skill set is valid, 39 is no longer by 2030. We've got to get training for that 39. Reskilling is say, hey, I used to scythe wheat on the farm in Alberta. And unless you're a Mennonite, a Hutterite, or Amish, it's irrelevant now. So reskilling says 0% of my skill set is relevant. We need an industrial scale level of retraining, training, upskilling.
I'm using AI for the third year in a row to do that. So I'm working with the AI, I'm talking to it, it advises me. I ask it about how what I'm doing compares to my competitors, where my gaps are, how I should fill in. And it's been amazing, but I've had to learn how to do it. And as an example, I'm bringing an executive with me this year, and somebody new who's never worked on with me before. And they were just kind of sitting there with their mouth open, not understanding how I was working with the AI to achieve my goal. So I think that for all of us, whether you're a CEO, a journalist, or a support worker, a sales worker, marketing worker, no matter what you're doing, you're going to have to reach a doctor, radiologist, you name it. Everyone is going to have to retrain themselves to be productive with AI.
This is Mark Benioff this year in Davos at WEF. The largest CRM in the world, most successful, saying, I have to personally be continuously learning. This is a very important message. So here's the job impact by 2030. This is McKinsey. First, the good news, 555 million to 899 million jobs created. How they get so granular, I'm not so sure. I would have just said 900 million, whatever. But 400 to 800 million jobs lost. So my question to you is, if you could only choose one of these two, would you choose to disrupt your industry or be disrupted? Are you curious or fearful? Is this really about learning, or can we have the luxury of ignoring these trends? Is this an opportunity, or is it really adversity? It all depends on my frame. We need to embrace AI and technology because they are hugely deflationary. So a phone call here from Mississauga at the golf club to Paris, France in 1980, adjusted for inflation, was $10 US a minute. So if I had 30 people on a global conference call for 3 hours, that was a $50,000 bridged phone call. And today with Zoom, it's free. Look at how deflationary tech and innovation is, particularly in this time of tariffs and uncertainty. We need to have every lever we can to improve our operational efficiency. And it's not just efficiency, it's speed. So this is how long it took different technologies to reach 50 million customers. It took the airline industry 68 years. And it took Pokemon Go 19 days. So my question to you is, are you changing as fast as the technology is? Now, I can hear the thought bubbles. You might be thinking, Jim, this is such an unfair comparison because Pokemon Go is a game for little children. Okay, well then ChatGPT took 50 days to reach 50 million customers. Are we changing as fast? So there's a saying in Silicon Valley, speed is God and time is the devil. And I want to play you a little clip from Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI, which gave us ChatGPT.
The cycle here is basically talk to customer, understand pain point, build product to address that, get that in front of a user, see what they do, and then repeat the cycle. And this cycle is how you iterate and improve. The law of compound growth being what it is, if you can get 2% better every iteration cycle, and you have a chance of having an iteration cycle be every 4 hours or every 4 weeks, and you compound that over the course of a few years, you get in very different places. Make it one of your top goals to build the fastest iterating company the world has ever seen.
So taking the bottom here is the company with a 4-week iteration cycle improving 2%. 52 weeks a year divided by 4 is 13 cycles, 1.02 to the power of 13. You have a 29% improvement after 1 year. The company that's operating on 4-hour cycles improving by 2%, 2,000 work hours in a year divided by 4 is 500, 20,000. I can tell you which outperforms the other. Speed is absolutely essential. And paradoxically, the faster we go, the more we need to take time. This is back to the CEO of Salesforce.
This is a moment where we all have to regain our beginner's mind. So a phrase that I, cherished myself when I started my meditation this morning, this Japanese idea, Shoshin, regain your beginner's mind.